sa and come share basa we a free atrofo nada and the brabafo kushifo thieves and criminals and rogues, rats, ragamuffins atete bebre na obi nipedi sane bi amame nam sia na wo sane amame se o se akofu se wo kan na so me kan a eno na da ho mamu tietie no because for me I will not understand for one reason why a nation, a sovereign nation like this, nowhere in the world, I repeat, nowhere in the world, a civilized nation would allow the citizens to consume such a gullible information almost at what cost and at what benefit. But then the ultimate goal to this, all right, the ultimate goal to this, the commentators of this, is to allow the citizens to what? To consume this sickness, to consume this ailment, and to consume something that is as a heavy detriment to their health, to their lifestyle, and then to their well-being. Then the question remains: if this is the order, again it begs the question, what will be the fundamental role in terms of the people living up to livelihood and to be able to do well? And not a buying any memo, say they are buying a baby mukras or baby be creating an endowment for the people who are not buying memo. But show the government, has allowed a group of miscreants and charlatans, good for nothing fools, simply to work on the minds of the people and destroy them fundamentally. In the answer, na buy the crab baby so about the BBM monocrano. Na sanko for na government na allow this group of people say monko say your citizens and destroy them for want of their own peculiar interest. Then I say anything, me dem you be the baby out. I stand to be corrected, but not necessarily to be corrected, because this small global world way. In fact, in any civilized nation, where, how? Anyway, the next question.
Nti obi baby said that dam enkomsha about 31st. I hint the pan at ya wo drew.
Mr. J, me say me war even one. But a recycle prophecies we had, and I'll tell you why. Some of these prophecies we heard it a year ago, and so what they failed doing is to just recycle these prophecies and again bring it to let it surface 2026. That's all there is to it. Now I'll not go too far enough than to focus on one that perhaps maybe it's all the best show, I don't know. And the self-style, self-acclaimed, self-imposed, notorious Owusu Bempah. Now, who prophesy say Ubibiwa and when come here? Somebody is going to die. Is this a prophecy? But then again, fundamentally, we know death is inevitable, and death is part of humanity created by God. It's only God that me now you be party for assassins. In the Nippon assassins, it doesn't matter when a time or whichever way it is. See other religious groups and it's a Muslims say one of a unique calling of God. They never send you. Na adena mudi owo na iwia enti ba tio say enipa ni nwu the prophet in baka say o me na me bomb pa enti ni we
instead of no baka wa bad situation
no nipa nu a anyame asem na abem e dey nkwasi asem ben no where I mean civilized country then yes anyway and your government upon government still seem incapable of reversing this stupid dirty trend. They continue to allow this to proceed and to go on even under the Fourth Republican Constitution. 33 years I still remain. Is the government not being reasonable enough? Is the government's consciousness seared? Or what is wrong with them? At least.
Ma oyo muhune de wa enda mi twa no but ma oyo muhune de bian 31st nkotin na wan honhom konkron no ohun nyama awan na menta asano do twena busumi nia ma otwom then 31st night Ehono, and as soon concrony son. But I want to maintain set us to some mentasi.
Aha, maybe Tiasia, enemy person Tiasia, enemy Tiasia, and so a ye. Assembly nanny. I see, Kofi, this religious overtures must be forced out of the system, and we must eradicate it and do it quickly. So, program way can be phobia. That's what my face. Oh, a obi can some a group of journalists to be one way of life to always and at all times want to crusade at certain religious bodies like the Christian fraternity. Now, say Christian fraternity. I almost say more because me free. Me who say a Muslim cleric be could never be shankom. And then me who say the traditionalist. I better a conform as if to be
Buddhist TV. And I have Krishna.
There are many religious groups like what? The Gnostics, the Buddhists, the Baha'is, any among the count. They be all. I am Christo some way pet. And I'm gaining that notoriety. And when we gain that idiosyncrasy, this is our way of life. I know we can't be with the only time that the God they worship can only speak and speak only on 31st December. It is a government in Benin here. I believe that a time it's one too many, and time is overdue. And we are even running out of time. That they need to work at this one. Clear this one, raise it up, destroy it, crush it, and crush it with the speed of being light. Like what we are seeing, and again, we've said this before. One of the African countries here in Rwanda, the capital, Kigali, Paul
Kagame, yeah.
On yes, I do my fine Emma said a Jimmy for me lunatics and more for me Jimmy for foolish men of God. These are ever be John, no my I didn't when they now a Christopher no physical Bible now provisions are more now 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 8 what do you call and son of what Zechariah chapter 13 verse 4, 5, 6, 7 now so there are provisions what their mom as uncle for him every about woman now bet the tiam mania for him why you may say mipom in miam odoto mirika over friend or say prophet or catch us no please I'm not a prophet now me name me share me papa enyan bia and I say a cows go go na me show then one say sasemu no be can why because the Bible says so
interesting. Still listening to Kwaku Annan on 101 with Enoch, and as Riley said, it's on my CTVGH, Frontline Ghana, and also on the Hawk TV. Kwaku, you share a bente our friend or Ebo Noah. That's isn't
correct.
Okay. Now Ebo Noah, no you move at it and one summon. I also a content creator, don't know what I can. You just saw a prophet or a day. But Anthony and Twenchen, okay, or Babaye in Subi Bay in time that not to no one in Suri Bay into Osi Ako or ye and I mean away. It's time to do now if you're called by them than coaching. You say before or Belby and go Panafo Savado, if you're by them done easy. Watch our bent here to. The people say, oh, that's how I know content, listen and watching you too. We create fear and panic, but found but down but then a walk can. Now, me pede wiana da atro why I say too much new to ma them 31st prophet if you are not one anymore because a bono one as ye me huni danger too much as compared to bia otum kasam we me show go be catch the boa onye adikito now these people in here one and ho inti yehwe a bono one kono for the watching adambra kwando that's what adambra kwando abandon and embrana yujmo on the site now add that 31st if we one and ho.
You know why? This way, it would have been a questioner as he had directed the command, the Inspector General of Police.
Okay.
Dr. C.O.P. Yehonu. Tete Yehonu. The second one, go to Minister of Information. You're very simple. Mutlaka Mubarak. And I think also, so these are the law enforcement agencies. Now we extend it to the judicial system where the laws are being what? have been enacted. No, have been implemented, because our judicial system, no, would take the law and then crack the law depending who is before the law. Staff 3 organogram institutions we must be questioned. Now, no, maybe say civil society groups. Civil society groups are more Ghana. Kofi me catch the every day Shada na Google. How many civil societies do we have here in Ghana? This small nation country. Your population in Venezuela are almost the same. Right? Natural civil societies you go. You don't know why I'm saying. If you say civil societies, you know. A drummer bank pan and what is our main one way all time. You are crusading on how Ghana would get its ass well put together, shake together, run over. About what? Politics, and your democracy, and then you say, ya can be prepared. As since say Ghana's democracy, you know, aging say this almost civil society about the Kadimana young. And Ghana and I say saying. There are so many confrontational issues at that one. As I said, civil societies, what we need action. Because almost the monies, the kind of saying, talk about them. Plenty. Now, Ebono was somehow didn't buy. Some rano, actually, Mumian Tree woman in Nusu, yes, sir. Nase Bunoa, Obeto Puma, non water Puma. It says Oko Kinkai, Yawam Rani Bibri, and Rani Bibri Oko Kinka 1963 law. It was enacted during the British era. All right, and Wahonamo Oko Kinkai, for example, the criminal code established by the PNDC law, and also a 1992 constitution. Nina articles na Mama 3 areas of where the laws of this country fundamentally prohibit these
kind of behaviors now.
Men aiming to be prophesying and saying that God has spoken to them on one ear to come and tell us this. All of this. Even NCA acting up. And also, so a woman said all of this comes under what we call charlatanic advert. Anything so that comes on the heels of say a creative hypnotism, falsification, eventually leading to that of what creating fear and panic, and also it's against the law. So Ebonowa notwithstanding, and that's of this style Owusu Bempah prophesying. By this time, the laws of this nation has bundled all of them, crush them, and let them go to jail and spend more time than even Mami Agrada. Mami Agrada adverts Ben a mantis and into. She was one person who was caught did all kinds of charlatanic adverts. Ghana mrenimo. No meaning say, I don't know why. Yeah, can say Kofi Ejiri. Yes. Go to NCA and let them pull the list and check all the television channels now winning. The television channels are winning, including the active ones being used by renowned media houses. Konako check it. These self-style pastors, prophets and bishops, abe critic, airtime war. At odd hours. And omoyede erane sa charlatanic adverts we bra medobu sika we ama we sim yese then the most regrettable part is say self-style men of God we akwoto channels ni nara make governments upon governments of this party including some George or Tosi aware say channels ni nara are control now within the spectrum in the hands of self-style men of God. Nakofi ade omode ye no Onyankopon pe no nimu ade a omode side we omode ye dangerous very serious ne beka say so ma ye bi kura no a it is time for us to call a seizure. Now we need to sanitize this country.
Absolutely.
We need to sanitize it. Please, okay? The welfare, the well-being, and the forwardness of this country will not, cannot, and may not dwell on allowing these bunch of crooks, animals, thieves, and useless men of God to come and control your national channels. and be what? Prophesying to people, lying to people, and causing confusion among many Ghanaian families here and there. Every year, what is the meaning of that? Why? When you actually have law, it cannot be on the shoulders of, say, oh, Ghana is a secular state, therefore you are now a secular state, and who say your mind, you are destroying the social fundamental fiber of the nation. And by the time you be through with it, last year, some 2025, a brand helicopter crash here in a matter of hours, 72 hours thereof. Nation Nipa, South Star, who see Basabasa useless and massive. I have no excuse, oh, please, excuse my word. I have no excuse for them. At a point, then I realized, now President Mahama, it was a Asemkesi Riba. So then, it then surfaced though like a decree. And one of his men, obviously free anchor, and yet they take that position and say all prophecy will be up so the baby on fan call. And then no, I say a disappear. Yes, sir.
Na the office no crown will be no crown. Na say you woman my opinion yanse biani. There. Office for what?
Because I say is by extension you are allowing this stupidity continue to ride on the shoulders of
because that was a time and a period that will be by our back one day. You see, once you open that kind of door, all this kind of coffee system. It's a can cut the master. Then you invite him. Yes.
I for far too long, but baby, I can't answer. No, so nobody, mama say, India. The politicians, this bunch of useless politicians are ruling the 4th Republican Constitution for 33 years. We are yet to me. They need these your charlatans, and these charlatans also need them. Because why? Most of these men of God, for the fact is that they control crowd. And to said no, they can any time and when it is time for elections, they go hide behind some of these men of God. It's who are members who TSRO or Modiana members no mere day, woman to Abama. Why? I or not or soft one and 77 radius. DHS crowd will see ya and the Nala Braca. We see who. But see, Antonio won't name she, ni pafunsa or nimshi. Na politician at Wako school names it is in this global world way. Here's our spirituality way. And your common sense, do what the people want, and the people will just give you power. For the people to renew your mandate, that's not and cannot stand on the altar of spirituality. No, but no answer. And so the baby and me will with him. So spiritual
very interesting for another day. Very interesting.
Politicians need to make your into politicians need win.
And you know this on the Christian Council now one who I really don't look, I'm confused about a whole lot of things. So
yeah, one among such men of God are on Pesadi way. Just after 31st, to announce the 31st grand or years out. So shit the way and manner he has lashed out, on his own men of God. Some of his own men of God.
Oh yeah, I've watched the tape. Yes, I have.
It's so unique.
Oh, kind of perfect.
The first time or yes I do. After I say or yes I don't know. You see, and I love it such that when some of these men also join, the train, say yes, crashes maybe may share a leader. Sa leader no ofi obenya that alacrity and that prowess no beba no oba or the emra Ghana mrano a cassetia side no or the basic who say bam the only first time as I do we be see Ghana the ex-wa Inspector General of Kufu Dampare and all the BBC abeto wa me fan say and no sa time no obekaya say ye ne 31st no be hwe nkomita ebinom tuse no obisi ono ni Ghana asase so the laws cannot find him wanting and some but just in crasisem bebre crasisem na doso Ghanaians be ye ka Ghana na wutie mentie ni just like that. We can all form cell units. In the global south where development in the global east north now your men of God as abwabwa nipo we ashe demo no mo ye here baba ikikoma gadusa iko braka ko
lekusu what is the meaning of oh my word one with Kwaku Annan, always interested having this beautiful conversation with the vociferous general. I call him the legendary Kwaku Annan. Continue, please. Oh, but but you see, Mr. Ibudo and not Demina was no judge because all these 31st prophecy and more. Oh, maintain one I say, why was it even though you try your best possible to give a detailed explanation, but said I'm not there. What's that? Can't not penny baby fat.
I tend to agree with you.
Not penny baby fat.
If the likes of the Owusu Bempah and whatnot who prophesy lifestyle prophecies, lifestyle, and it's as equal as no one. But you see, no one at the end. The AMA law enforcement for your mood in a brought back cancer. Quite a number of people from neighboring countries and beyond. And no, a bit disturbing, pretty much disturbing. Or said,
I don't know, make I'm coming to that is this. Ghana Hana Yawo.
Yeah.
And I grada. Sisika Garos and Kofu Faka from a him for this quid or Kadan to 300 Ghana, or come in 30 million and not 300 million. Mokita 300 million, or come in 30 billion. I tell you, what quite, my Miss Camunia, Fefe. Ghana Hana Yawo, I've been to your friend Dr. Ewan. I check Kraba now. They are the people who are speaker of parliament. Ajay, a chunda party, Ayazano Biala, or you fini page. Nazi, or Chakraba feeding bottle. Nina, Chichen, Nina, Yazi. Ghana Hana is answer your and I bent to Noah. Tisa Akaku Samson and Usobo Pay system in Bobo Buddha. So, question maybe Sunday, then Lancaster Ghana footing in food bindom. Not other neighboring countries or no, but the pan show home. Yes, you be blaming themselves star for prophet Nazi. Timmy food about the pan or who impedis in now Juna better one will get no content back as some. Never JD, na Africa, then bring your woman. Them you mean you able to miss it.
Yeah, fundamentally, there is something that is wrong with the mind of these people of color. This people of color, and I mean people of color that I black people before beginning right from the day and suddenly developing in the middle of the centuries. So no, it's all kind of histories who say Christianity rode to the corridors of Africa 15 centuries ago. Came, dropped the Bible, and that ritual exchange in Azevo, and after that, it just went away. And again, when we all know, yes, when they came, the black people actually knew God already and what we're doing. And again, there was also the black man's fear for the fact that God exists and therefore we must do things and do them right. It was only when the Europeans introduced their God who looks like them, not like us. Okay? And all the features about their God, who apparently was described to be a fine man, and then they describe evil to be that of us black people with a horn and a tail, no problem. And then the black man consumed this philosophy. Now, having consumed this philosophy going forward, they made us again feel inferior and to understand that this is our way forward. Right then, they started building churches and whatnot, including then after the church simply became a special purpose vehicle. Right from there came the transporting black people. By that time, Kofi, they have consumed, manipulated, and I've said this constantly over and over, that be more mindful of the man who uses a message to conjure message, control your mind, your subconscious, celebrant, and lower you down, and derail you out of your confidence and your ability to be able to rise to whatever. Because for it is the mind we serve the Lord, and the mind is the battleground. So they constantly stood on our minds. They brainwashed us badly that this word constantly be used. It's true. are gradually, then we have to accept and buy into their conceptualization of religion. They succeeded in any way. And it's been over what? It's been over several thousand years ago. Even if you do the calculation from 15th century and now, that's, if you do the mathematics, the subtraction from 15th century and now 21st century, the subtraction, what is it? It's about 6 centuries Christianity has been. Question remains, what fundamental impact has it made, make on us? Nothing, zero. It's all what? Retrogression. And so you can see the demeanor of the black person, so low in IQ, low in confidence, low in self-esteem, and low in everything. But the black man, I'll tell you, if you study the ancient Egypt philosophy, we were the first people to construct. We were the first physicians. We were the first to study astrology and astronomy, eschatologists and esoterics. We were made in special way. So right then, guess what then happened? Then they started transporting us to the Western world, the Caribbeans and other places through their special purpose vehicle called Christianity. And which church began the transportation? It was the what? The Church of England, presided by who? The Queen of England. Again, yasa, asori kesia ne wu biasia. Ese boni pa obane. Ne Church of England, and the two sana mono first. Now baby sa senti nyame so na mo de ba me yaso Onyankopon no. E na mo be sesa de ekoye nkwa. Na mo wie mo de osom sa de share na mo ka kire say no. Black man has been made simply not to look for any wealth and any good stuff, including golden. But you are made to understand that the gold, the diamonds and whatnot is up in the heavens. And so therefore, okay? This was also orchestrated by another King Leopold of Belgium. In 1835 or so. And the people of Congo, destroyed the Congolese. He killed almost about 15,000 or more Congolese. By way of trying to establish religious artifacts, religious whatever to the people of Congolese for. If it's a Shemwa, Bonia Christosum, Womudi di Africa no. Kofi Ejiri, a young president. Shemwa. And Jen say, now one of our own, yes, I Yankasi Daniel was after 1838, the abolition of slave trade. Now Yankasa said, no, one of our own. This is a big media. Enku we asena na Yankasa one of our own asen akọ no akọ sesade na broni bi betie no no akọ fa se ono so de ba betie obe yes ade de tie ono ani nya bibini nti da eno was self-styled crooks, thieves, criminals, rogues, and more for asofo no mgu kroma ebia mo hu bishops na na asefo obi team say they arise respond and march forward, for it is the council of Jehovah that shall stand. Hey, stop this way, bunch of thieves and crooks.
Oh my God. Too much in the power.
What do you mean say now? Rise, oh my soul, be strong and march. Why?
Oh my word. SFP.
And if security forces not
yes. My final question on this religious related issues is going to be on the fact that you being a vociferous broadcaster, one would have expected that some of these prophecies would be about you, but interestingly none of them mentioned you. Does that surprise you?
Okay, but I wouldn't say prophecy though, but one of my adversaries, my adversary Owusu Bempah, who from nowhere surfaced in the blues. Now, on what can I send you to her? MC Yabani, okay. I quote, Kwaku Annan, the crashing. I wouldn't say there's a prophecy.
There's not a prophecy.
No. We're a declaration. And we are only simply going to give the self-style Owusu Bempah. With him, and not so, show as a maybe new. Nyansapobia, Shadebia Meka, Sasso for the GHS crowd, so Owusu Bempah Nyankodi. Now, so Kofi Udiagra, we are Professor Emeritus, whatever. When we saw Becca, some Metona, I ran to the Mecrashino. One for timelines and 1 more days, 1 more weeks, 1 more month, but also Mecrasho. In the 2 is by any divine saying, Yamia Shishi Diato so Kwaku, say na say Puna Betrono is answering me nipa. Sadly, pay a pet was anyway, Baba country. I am me and said, oh, yeah, examples be braced on or crash it. Mamia Grada wound to me.
That one for the
and when there is an available document, the prepare better church him quite fast or wound to me called Jimmy Sika. If we the fence and the Exim Bank, no Kwaku says it or the then special purpose vehicle then or the coin or the company or the coin. Now, why who were the top MPP people are not Michigan? Among Koji's can no one in these can including the former IGP. On reports I would want to produce, which may produce our reports in that, including allegations I would want YBT and so on. One Kasa took what certain laws into his own hands. These allegations of killing, mass killings, including 7 Nigerians who were reportedly shot and killed. I reporting and in Yamabe, including JB Dan Kwanumina death, also produced on report, which media about. Na adan joma amano yesu ni eni so obehwe sa ani mo ina se papa no why we do many drink and drink na osofo bi jira so oba beje that atu no so ono no ye na wo no betimi a wo Owusu Bempah na wo kasa se nye dampare na ochi utu mu eye offense cantonment police station na so wo tumi bi a ene na so wo ye te se wo di Elijah ye example say Elijah e command sisire e ma ne me fa nkura e di edeko na de na wo no prison mon won't shout no prison doors in MBA near there. Now we share them in about 1 hour no Owusu Bempah started Johnson.
That one I will tell you.
No, I've said it before.
Yes, I know, but I wanted the end drop.
Meanwhile, we in Yankuponi Pao. Acts chapter 15 verse 16-40. Paul net salas ne demo no. Woman la hwan ye di o keke. That the walls of the prisons na me ade ni na no den PBS earthquake now who die ye. Muti wona mo ye dede no or the hwan ba be o command system. Now the command nyata ne nsebo a ono to na de bia o hye nkom se an MPP lose and na wo mu di ki ni koma jata no na jata de ma fence lion no and a lion de ma odenche si atika
anyway quick sorry for some of the words
what is
one with quick and always on fire.
Frontline will return to the screens on CTV very soon. And we are coming with the biggest expose here. Yatunidin, the workers of iniquities. Of course, expose we would capture renowned men of God in this country. I repeat, renowned men in the body of Christ. The bonini, the money, medie, isikadie, the abuse of God's name. And the miade. And never me and son of the kind, isikadie. Abuse of God's name ni medie.
One yasem no. Le kususu.
Le kususu.
Le menye.